It does have a significant impact on the shoreline, a shoreline which is in some aspects of it currently untouched. Some of them will be replacing the current building, but will be replaced by a building which is sort of much taller and much more imposing. And we're also concerned about the impact that it will have, not only in relation to traffic, but in other aspects as well, on Catalan Bay village itself, which is, been spruced up relatively recently with its nice pastel colours. It's also a beach which is commonly used by users. And it will have an architectural impact now, not only on the southern side with this project, but also on the northern side in relation to the Hassan Centenary Terraces project and also the East Side project. So those are the concerns that we have. And we also question and want to eke out of the government is what it is whether they are supportive of this project or not. They've said absolutely nothing. We acknowledge and understand that this is a private, this is not government land, but the government manifests itself either by making a statement and also in relation to the negotiations. We've raised issues about premium, we've raised issues about change of use, we've raised issues about length of leases and all of that. That is where the government manifests itself as to whether it is supportive of the project or not.
Well, let's start with your point about the visual impact of the buildings. You say that you welcome a brand like the Hilton coming to Gibraltar, but brands like these have very specific requirements on the way in which their buildings are designed. So how do you really consolidate the two? This is probably what the Hilton requires.
We don't know that, but we do know from research that we've done that in fact, I stand to be corrected, but I think the Hilton itself has done projects which aren't necessarily the usual sort of design in other countries. I think it may be in Vietnam where they've sort of done sort of some sort of village feel to it. So it doesn't necessarily have to be their standard design. So I think there are ways around it. At the end of the day, what we need to be focused on as a society is what type of Gibraltar do we want it to look like in the next 10 or 15 years.
You mentioned the changing face of Gibraltar, and I suppose when we talk about these buildings, what goes hand in hand in that is height. That's a very common point discussed, but the reality is that we do have a growing population, an aging population, and those people need to be housed somewhere. Yes. So how can you do that without providing buildings of this nature?
We are very, very, very conscious of the immediate tension that you raised there in that question. Clearly, we do have demands. There are also demands in relation to investment. This is a case in point where we do have a brand coming here and that needs to be welcomed. But I think we need to be imaginative. And I think basically what we're saying as a party is let's have a plan. Let's look at our population needs over the next 10, 15, 20 years. In our manifesto, we talked about a 2050 plan. In other words, where will Gibraltar be in the next, in 2050? We need more long-term vision, is basically what I'm saying, and take account of those tensions that you're talking about. Clearly, there will be demands on the limited land space that we have, but we need to decide what we do with that. But I think we need to all agree where it is that Gibraltar is going in relation to this.